Hello and welcome back to the pursuit of myself. It's been a really interesting time for me because one, the kids are back at school and every single school holidays, I think that I'm going to get a lot more done than I actually can. So mark my words, next school holidays, I'm actually going to make sure that I've put enough things in place that I don't put that pressure on myself to have to go, because that is actually what I've been programmed to do. So in this time, and coming back to the kids being at school and getting back to my regular programming with work, and it's been really reflective because with a lot that's been happening the last 6 months, there's been a lot of expansion, a lot of energetic expansion, holding more space for more clients, holding more space for more money, more programs, workshops, obviously this podcast. And the one thing that happens that I also speak to a lot of my clients about this actually, so have a listen and see if this pattern happens in your life. When we expand to hold space for more, whatever that more is, quite often before it really hits that expansion, you will be met with a contraction. It's like, are you really wanting that? Are you really ready for that? So it could look like in terms of finance, it could like you're expanding, you're earning more money, but suddenly you're like, oh, that's not enough. Where is all that money going? Like what's actually happened to it? It could look like if you're expanding in your work and holding more clients. So the expansion comes and then you're not doing your self-care. You don't have enough time with the children. You're maybe neglecting the time at home and you have this like real guilt. You have this shame. It's like the contraction comes. Whatever this happens, it's not the calm before the storm. It's like the storm before the calm. It is your nervous system starting to level up and get ready for what you're calling in. So I always know that when I'm in expansion and I then go through a contraction, it is making space for what I'm asking to call in. Go through this contraction. It can feel really yucky. It's like your old patterns, your old stories are coming back. And what is happening to you energetically? What the universe is asking is, are you really ready? What are you willing to get rid of? Are you willing to shed some things that no longer serve you? Are you willing to reevaluate where your values are, where your time is spent, where you're spending your money? Because it wants to know that it's safe giving you what you're asking for. So if you are calling in, let's say, more clients and you're finding you're really time poor and you're not looking after yourself, how about stop and actually have a look? Where is my energy, time leaking? Where am I out of alignment with who I'm spending time with where I'm spending my time, with my choices? I'm wanting more clients and wanting to expand my business, but I'm still choosing to have too many drinks on a Tuesday night or choosing to not get out of bed and exercise. Maybe it needs to be at 5 o'clock in the morning now, whatever that looks like for you. And it's the same with money. When money comes and the income comes, it wants to know that it's safe to be with you. So how are you using it? Are you using it with intention? Are you using it with integrity? And I've really found that over the last 3 weeks, I've gone through quite a bit of contraction and I feel the energy of coming out at the other side, which is really exciting. And now, having done all this work for so many years, I kind of look forward to the contraction. Does it make it not like uncomfortable anymore? No, holy shit. It is so uncomfortable when you're in it because you're like, what am I doing wrong? Why is this happening? Well, like, where is my energy leaking? But if you can find your calm through that storm and really tap into yourself and go, what is the universe asking of me? What am I doing that's still out of alignment? Am I holding energetic space for what I'm calling in? Am I really wanting and ready for what I'm calling in? And you can really center in that. I promise that the next few steps, whether it's love, this happens in romantic relationships, money, business, your health, the next few steps will just start showing yourself. If you look at it as the universe wants to know that what you're calling in and what it's giving you, if it's in alignment, it wants to know that it's safe. And can you actually hold space for it? So that's where the mindset work and the energetics come in, which actually brings me to today's episode. I'm so excited to have this conversation, and I've been excited for a long time. I've been watching this woman on the sidelines create the most incredible legacy, and it's really, really inspiring. So I know that you will be inspired by this too. So what if the freedom you are craving, it's not in a job title or a postcard or maybe a perfect plan that you'd set out for yourself, but what if it's finally giving yourself permission to build real wealth? So in today's episode of The Pursuit of Myself, I'm joined by the incredible Michelle Rule, also known as the Millionaire Maker. She's a mother, investor. She's also an energetic powerhouse. Yes, sister. And a multi-business owner who's built a $7 million asset base. So more than that, she's built overflow in her life, and now she wants to share that beautiful wisdom with you. So Michelle went from adrenal fatigue, 30K in debt, spiritual burnout, being angry at money, to becoming a leader in a soul-led wealth creation business. So she's not here to sell you hustle culture or to tell you exactly what you're doing wrong. She's here to inspire you, to help you manifest, but not in the fluffy manifestation way. She's here to show you what's possible when people stop ignoring their finances, when they own their desires, and when they start building a legacy for themselves and even for their families. So whether you're just starting over after separation, whether you're feeling capped in your income, or quietly wondering if it's too late to begin, if you're a little later on in life, this conversation is a reminder that wealth is built in small intentional steps. And she wants to remind you that it all starts with choosing yourself. So this one is for the woman who wants more from life, not just more money, not just more finance, not just more assets, but for the woman that really wants to feel what it's like to have freedom, the freedom to have choices, the freedom to choose, and to build a legacy that you get to create from that freedom. So let's get stuck in. Welcome to the Pursuit of Myself, the podcast. Here we take ownership of our healing. We rewrite the rules, we turn knowledge into wisdom, and we lead our lives with intention. I'm your host, Rain, and it's my mission to empower you to get back into the driver's seat of your life. I'm so excited for this. Welcome, Michelle, to the Pursuit of Myself. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much, Rain. I'm so excited to be talking to you and all of the listeners today.
Well, just what I wanted to do, until we get into this podcast, you are coming off the back of something pretty major that happened for you yesterday. Do you want to tell us what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I'm a multiple business owner, but a year ago I started in this legacy business of mine, and it was so nearly a year to the date, and I hosted my first VIP day for 12 powerhouse women at Crown Towers in Perth, and it was electric. So, you know, my message is about empowering women to build wealth, and it's not a path that I ever saw myself on. Now that I'm here and able to have these deep conversations about what it truly means to be financially free, there's honestly no greater gift.
I just love the work that you do. And I would love to ask you, like, what is the thing that most lights you up in this work? You lead with energetics and strategy, and you have built the most incredible business, but also that from value and from purpose. Can you tell us a bit about yourself? Like, what lights you up?
Yeah, so being able to step into this new sort of mentoring coaching space, it's something that I never saw myself doing, but it just came so naturally. And as you say, it was like having that background of energetic work and then also being a business owner. So my husband and I have built a IT company over the last 14 years. So I know a lot about strategy and also becoming an investor. We've got 5 investment properties and managed to build out our net wealth through property and through shares and crypto and all of the things. But so to come from the strategy lens, but also I'm Reiki trained, pranic healing trained, and I had many years before I had any money at all where I was diving deep on the energetic work. And so now to actually be able to blend the two is so fascinating, so interesting. And I would say that that probably is my superpower. And the reason why I've been able to build wealth so quickly is because I understand that everything is frequency, like it truly is. And once we come from a basis of understanding that it's frequency and it's our beliefs and it's the way that we treat money and work with a strategy on top of that, you're truly unstoppable when it comes to building wealth.
And as you're coming to us from your brand new home that you've just moved in.
Yes, that's it. Yep, brand new house, barely moved in. Haven't got the lighting and the furniture and all the things yet in my office here, but you know, this is the life that we're so blessed to now have lots of options, lots of freedom and lots of choice. And wealth really is, it's about that. And yesterday in the room when we were looking at it always has to be grounded in, well, why do we want it? And, it's so much more than a number on a screen. Like, who cares? I'm out here saying, look, I've built 7 million assets. So everybody knows the numbers. And it's like, but we're not doing it to just parade a number. It's really just to shine a light, freedom to live where you want to live, to take the trips. And then for me, even to show up and serve. I've been a full year in this legacy business. And the only reason I'm able to sit here and do this work is because I have myself looked after in all of the areas. I feel like my cup is full and I'm now in overflow, and I just with joy and love, I just want to go share it. So you can't shut me up now. This is what I'm here to do.
I love it. And I love hearing you speak. It's so inspiring. I want to go back to that moment that when you're in debt, and when I think you said you were 27, what prompted you to actually move into the wealth space? Because as we know, in this spiritual realm, the personal development world, a lot of people are trying to translate that to money. A lot of people are trying to translate that to wealth, but the penny just isn't landing. So what did you do? Was there like a moment where you realized, or something that broke through for you to translate all your beautiful energetics into wealth building strategies?
I love this question because I believe that so to be spiritual, to be soul guided, and to have the full understanding of energetics does not necessarily mean that we are ready to claim wealth, to work with the energy of money on this planet. And for the longest time, I really struggled with wanting to be outside of the money system. And I actually laughed because I was having a flashback where I was doing some research, so deep into my spiritual days. Let's just paint the picture. As a 25-year-old woman, I had worked my way up through the advertising industry. I was a corporate girly. I, had the degrees. I just wanted the income. Now at 25, I had adrenal fatigue. My hair started falling out. I had psoriasis, like itchy red skin from my head to my toes, and I was really unwell. So really that's what sparked the whole spiritual path, or the soul journey. I quit that job. I got out. That's when I was learning the energetics and the Reiki and healing my body, physically and spiritually healing. So now I got all the way up to 11:11 on the clock as I'm looking here. I got all the way up to 30 and I still hadn't embraced money. So I understood energetics. I understood it was all frequency, but I had no interest in the money system. I actually had started looking at these movements called the Ubuntu movement. There was this line of thinking where we could actually start just trading services and not even go into the money system. Like, let's just start building communities. Like, my brain was thinking, why are we like living these stressful lives? Why not build a community and, have your family and your friends all on a street and let's just all live together? And so this is the way my brain was working. And it wasn't until I had my son. So 31-year-old woman, I'd gone through IVF to have him. Now holding that little tiny child and realizing, oh, okay, so this child actually needs some things. And yes, he had my love and he had my time, so long as I didn't have to go back and work and trade my time for money. Now, if anything should happen to me and I had to leave him with someone else, as in if I was completely aware that life is a gift, it can be taken away at any time. I don't know why, as a mother, that just played on my mind. Like, if I wasn't here to take care of him, who would? And what would I even be able to give them, to offer them to look after him for 18 years? Like, I was writing out the wills and we were updating everything. And I honestly just had no asset to my name. So that was the moment. That was the moment I realized, I've been ignoring money. It's actually now going to be at the detriment of my freedom and my choice. So my husband and I, in those early days with our newborn, that's when we started looking and investing, and we thought we need to start building an asset base. I don't know what, maybe it was the sleepless nights or whatever was going through my brain, but I was like, all of a sudden I was just thinking I need to build stability. And that's where it started.
I love that, because I work with a lot of women who have these aha moments when either their marriage breaks down or something traumatic happens. And, I'm not ever saying that it's too late, but also that's when that fear comes in and they have lack of support from anyone around them because they feel so alone. What would you say to that woman who is looking at separating, having no asset base, hasn't done that work, hasn't looked into it, really scared about her future? How would you say to her, okay, this is how you find your courage to actually start doing something about it?
Love this. And so I have women that come to me and they say, look, I just don't know, like I want wealth, but I just don't know if I'm ready to start building it. And to me, it actually starts before investing. Like building wealth doesn't start the day that we sign on a piece of paper and get a property or start filtering into shares. The day that we actually start building wealth is the day that we just have the conversation about what would life look like? What would our ideal life look like if we were financially free? So if we didn't have to trade our time for money. And so even yesterday in the VIP day, I take women through a process where we come up with a financial freedom number. So without a map, how do we even know where we're going? So starting is just about having that conversation about what is it that I truly would love to build? What would life was financially free? Then we put a number on that. So I've got a calculator, a free calculator that I use, and that will essentially, you tell it what you'd love to spend every year, and it will give you an asset base, a financial freedom number. And then look, at least we've got a goalpost. We know, okay, well, where are we today? We can have a look at net wealth. And even if we're behind, we just have the conversation, we're ready to move towards the financial freedom. And then we start looking for opportunity. Like I'm an opportunity seeker, and I truly believe a woman who has decided she wants something, like watch out, we are really good at getting exactly what we want because we're powerful. We are creators. We get really clever to spot opportunity when we know where it is we want to go. So actually doing the work around where do we want to go will just light that fire within to be like, okay, I'm ready to take whatever that first step is.
It's really setting that intention, isn't it? And not being too afraid to even look. And that's where I want to, after that sleepless night, I'm thinking, here's Michelle and her husband, and she's got this beautiful baby. She's had the sleepless night. And where would you start? Like, what limiting belief did you realize you had, let's call it, about money, about family? Because as we know in energetics, it's not, singular. It actually spawns out over all different areas of your life. Was there a limiting belief that you had to work through to go, okay, I'm going to do this and find my courage?
Yes, like an entire page. Another thing we did yesterday, and it's really interesting because they are sneaky limiting beliefs. And I held on to these beliefs about what I thought felt about money. And to be completely honest, I was pretty angry at money. Money had betrayed me. It had caused me stress. It would show up and then it would disappear. I was frustrated that it wasn't enough for me to just be me and be able to do the things I wanted to do. I had to deal with this thing called money. It's like I was angry at it. Now, little did I know that me feeling that way about money was actually causing me to not look at it, to ignore it, to actually make the problem so much worse than it needed to be. So I guess until I had linked the why, and this is where we really need to start with the why and giving ourselves permission to agree that life would be easier if we had wealth. We need money to operate on this planet. Whether we like it or not, that's the agreed energy source. And so instead of thinking of it as something that I'm trading time for and it's taking things away from me, I'm now thinking, okay, I'm an energy queen. Money is an energy source. I'm ready to actually welcome it in. I feel deserving of it. My child is certainly deserving of it. And so even if I couldn't do it for me at that time, I absolutely felt worthy that he was worthy to have that. And so actually wanting it. I mean, it sounds so basic, but saying that we want it and actually wanting it it's a subtle but powerful difference.
How did you know you were angry at money, and what did you do to get yourself into that different energetics, that different frequency, that different mindset?
I was angry at money as a small person, I would say. I had this awareness because sensitive people were being that way most likely since we were little. I would see my parents. So my parents are both teachers and they worked very hard. My talented chemistry teacher. He wrote chemistry books as well for an additional income stream. He was tutoring after school to get some extra cash in. My mum was a primary school teacher, so she was rushing in the morning, out to work, rushing in the afternoon to get everything ready. They were really working hard. And yet I would still overhear conversations where we would be on trips and family trips and we couldn't go to that restaurant, or we wouldn't be able to stay in those places that's not for us. And to see any type of stress or anxiety between my parents over something that was called money, I distrusted it. I was annoyed at it, angry at it. I felt like, shouldn't we be able to do what we want to do? Why do you have to go and get that thing, leave us to go spend time to make that money? And, I don't have any feelings about that now. I truly believe that generation absolutely did everything they could. If you go back another generation, like my pop was in the war, from Italy. So he knew lack, he knew famine, he knew absolute struggle. That was his reality. So there's no judgment over that. So then for my parents to get a degree, become teachers was fun. They were absolutely doing everything they could. And so I just feel like now if we pass that torch down one more step, this generation, we don't have to be in lack. We truly have so much opportunity around us. And so maybe it's just time for me, I realize maybe it's just time to maybe not just always feel that way. Start to actually look with fresh eyes. Let's just have a fresh look at this. Am I really stuck? Do I really hate money? Or is there a way where I can start to work with it and maybe improve that for the next generation?
And I was having a conversation actually with my mum a bit earlier about this, because I still remember my grandparents, like 50 cents was a lot of money. Like my nan won the lotto. And I remember, my granddad went to Nan to ask for a new car. And she's literally said, "What's wrong with the one you've got?" And that was it, right? And that was just the way that they thought about money. And then my parents had their own, projections and conditioning. And what I'm interested looking at this generation that's coming through now, because it feels like they don't know how to go without. So they don't know how to go without the acai bowls, and they don't know how to go without, all the coffees and the bits and pieces that probably our generation was not used to having all the time. And, was there anything in your time that you feel like when you made this financial choice that you went without? And what do you see coming through with the energetics of happening, with this generation at the moment?
So look, in terms of going without, this is an interesting thing. So what's coming to mind as I'm thinking about this is building wealth. It's an invisible process. And so when I think about going with, it was more for me, it was directing our funds into something that nobody could see, and doing that for years, building something up, still living in a place where people would have no idea we're building upon building. So these millions are accumulating and we're still technically undercover, if you like. So you're actually going without the visible, what people might think, that's wealth, I can see money, all of that. It's like, well, we're actually choosing not to do those things and we're putting our money over here, and you'll get no sort of recognition and we don't need it. But it's actually an interesting process to be doing it and not maybe participating the same way. Like we rent vest. So here's an example. We were living in our home in Perth, and we wanted to change areas so because the kids were starting school, we wanted to send them to a public school, and there was a beautiful one in the beach suburbs here. So we thought, well, we're not going to purchase a house because that will end our investing plans. The only way we can do this, keep investing, keep funneling money into investments and actually live where we want to live, is to rent, because it is actually cheaper to rent, but you have to invest the difference. That's the thing. It's like, so here we are renting. People that know we're renting, they're probably thinking they're struggling to make ends meet, but we're actually funneling into the wealth machine. So it's kind of like you are making these choices that may not go with what everybody else is doing. So I guess you're sacrificing in that way. You're not doing maybe what everyone else is doing, but it's like this silent thing that you're building. And so I guess that's where, like, I love having the conversation around wealth, because you truly don't know what everybody's up to. Unless we actually have these conversations, what people may see as a wealthy life is not necessarily any wealth growing.
Which is really interesting because when we go back to programming, conditioning, mindset, a lot of people, we are programmed to buy the home. That's going to be your most, your biggest asset, etc. And we're not taught how to build wealth. And how much of it do you feel is mindset over ego? Because the ego is like, we need to behave how we're taught. We need to get the degree. We need to get the job. We need to buy the house in this area, etc. But when it comes to building wealth and energetics, it's a completely different game. So what do you say to the ego of the one that doesn't want to look at their wealth, look at their finances, and just be that cookie cutter sort of strategy?
Yeah, I mean, maybe we've uncovered something here. So maybe because, I'm not sure about you, but I've always felt like I'm a free thinker. I like to figure things out myself. I don't tend to like to follow the herd unless that makes sense to me. And maybe that worked to my advantage because I could see what people were doing. But if it didn't make sense to me to just buy, like for us to purchase this $3.5 million home, that would be like all of our wealth in one pocket, rather than actually spreading that out across all these properties that no one can see, but me knowing that I'm doing that. And, the day will come, but it's more like for my kids, the wealth will, I feel like I'm doing the right thing. So I guess if you are a free thinker, and I would imagine that your listeners are, then you can actually use this to your advantage because you can question things. You can actually design a life that feels good for you. And we get to have fun along the way. It's just asking the questions about, well, what am I actually doing that is good for me versus what am I just putting on autopilot and not really thinking about? Am I just getting the house and the car because, or is this actually part of my big plan? And this is where I'm such an advocate for having a net wealth map, a big overall life plan. Wealth, where are we today? What's the financial freedom number? What assets do I need to accumulate along the path so that I don't get the wobbles? It's like I see people, and I saw people upgrading homes and all of that, but it wasn't our time yet. And that's okay. We just came from a smaller place, and my 9-year-old was at the point where there wasn't enough outdoor space, and we'd stayed there a little bit long, but I was like, just hang in there because I want to get another 2 properties. Mum's got you. And so it's like just those small little things, because it was part of my big picture, that it made sense to me. So having that plan can just really help.
And I think that's the question, is it's almost like, who's in the driver's seat? Yeah. Is it my future, my desires, what I'm building, or is it my ego that says, I don't want to look at that. This is how I have to behave. If I'm building and investing, I'm going to have to go without. I'm going to have to sacrifice. I'm going to be in lack, right? Who is in the driver's seat? And if for anyone listening, what would be one thing to figure that question out that someone could ask themselves like right now?
Well, to me, it comes naturally to want to do, put it this way, I often think about, and I don't know if anyone else thinks this way, but I do often think about the end of my life. I do realize that life is a gift, and I'm very aware that time is that limited resource. It's that precious thing that we can't get back. There will come a day, and I don't know how many years I have left, but if I'm lucky enough to live all the way to the end of my life and look back, am I going to feel so proud, so excited, so lit up that I did the thing that I wanted to do? Or was I accidentally just following some other path and trying to impress or to please the people that really didn't matter in the end? So to me, we have to be true to ourselves. And I like to tune into the little me to make sure I'm making decisions that are truly mine. And look, I'm a fashion queen. I love shopping like I do, but even little me did. Like, I was the girl in the dress up box, like with the hand-me-downs, and like I just loved it. And I grew up dancing on stage, and I love that. So when people see me doing that, that's for me. It's not for anyone else to see me shopping or whatever. Like, that's just my little me being really happy. So I would say just knowing yourself and tuning into what really lights you up, because at the end, actually, does anything else matter other than doing what we came here to do? I just couldn't think of anything worse than getting to the end of our life and being like, oh, oopsie, like I did that for someone else. No, it's like we absolutely have to honor our soul and our path. And yeah, we have everything that we need to do that. So
It's that big alignment and authenticity piece, isn't it? It's like, do I want that house because I want it, or I'm told that I should get it? Do I want to buy that car because it makes my ego feel like I'm seen in that car? Or do I authentically love cars? Like, do I want to buy that dress because I love dress ups, as you just said? Or is it something that I want to show off my wealth, right? It's all in that alignment. And what I believe, and I'm sure you could attest to this, is when we're in alignment and when we're in authenticity with who we are and what we want, it's like the universe it's like it just shows you the next step. Like, what's the next step? Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, for sure. And we have to follow, I call it following the path of most excitement. Like if you get that giddy feeling, you're excited about something, like you are going to outperform, outdo, like you're in the zone. So, and yeah, and I would be a big advocate too, because I mean, I teach my clients to have queen accounts. I'm like, we need a queen account, right? We don't want to be, because for many years I actually restricted my spending. So restricting my spending was actually, it was not in alignment to me. Like to stop getting hair and nails for me was actually dulling my shine and dulling my just meanness. So I feel like whether it's the yoga or you love your beach walks or you just want your dinners out, like your coffee, if you want that and that's part of you and it lights you up and you feel more you, I'm like, put cash in your queen account every single month. Use that to authentically love on you and spend on you in a way that feels good for you. And like you say, absolutely never for anyone else. Like I couldn't think of anything worse than purchasing things to hopefully get a reaction from someone, like, for what? I don't get it. But when you're actually doing it for you, it's that feedback loop that I'm important, that what I love is important. Like pick the handbag that you want. Who cares what the label is? If there's a label on it and you love it, go for it. If there's not and you love it, go for it. It's like pick the thing that you truly want. And that will just be that beautiful feedback loop to trust yourself more, keep doing what it is that lights you up. And doors open. Doors open that way. They do. You know, people can say, oh, they're lucky. And I think maybe they're just in alignment. Maybe it's just for.
So I am interrupting this episode with incredibly good intentions. If any of these podcasts are resonating with you, if you desire to know your heart, if you desire to set up a very strong foundation to start that business, to rebuild from breakdown, to find out who you are authentically and find the courage to actually step into that, then I want you to get in touch. I have an incredible program called Align and Elevate. It is my group coaching program that will teach you how to rebuild from the ashes up. This isn't about adding more things to your life. This isn't about finding the roadmap, the blueprint. This is about understanding who you are, what you stand for, what makes you you, so that you can build a life from that place, not from the pleasing, not from the should haves, the have tos, not from the overwhelm, the burnt out, but rebuilding a life from you, your heart. We heal in community. We share in community. You get to be guided by me. It is a 10-week program and I am calling you up and in. I do this program every single time I hold ladies through, because every time that I do this program, I shed more layers. I shed more money stories. I shed more love stories. I shed more grief stories. I shed more relationship stories, parenting stories, you name it. This is the best friend. This is the opening that you need to get back in touch with yourself so that you can build the life you desire. You deserve it. I'm here for you. Let me know on Instagram. Let me know below. But if this calls to you in any way, I'd love to speak to you about Align and Elevate. It is here to stay. It is here for a reason, and it is here to serve you. I love that. And I've always done like so much deep diving on my money stories and my money blocks. And I saw this meme the other day, and it was, there's my child in 207 new basketball boots, and I'm sitting here in the same bra I bought when I was in high school. And I was like, oh my God, that's me. That is me. I was like, and why I'm telling you this story is because I think I have all these massive realizations about money. And then my ego goes, okay, yes, we're children. I've got the children and I've got responsibilities and I've got all this different, expenses and things and opportunities and private schools that I kind of leave myself out, which most of the time goes against so much of what I really believe. But for me, that fear in just putting those investments into myself is so real. And I see you like celebrating yourself and I get so inspired to do the same. But what would you say to someone like me? And I'll say this because I know so many of my listeners are like this. They put all their energy and money and resources into their children or into their home or into their marriage, and then they kind of leave the money side of things for themselves to the bottom of the pile. What would you say?
Yes. And like, I know that it's coming from a place of nurture, of care, of wanting to, whatever resources I have, I want to care for everyone around me. I feel it. I get it, but I do believe that we can also agree there is that element. If we can also care for ourselves, fill our cup up, and then we actually serve from the overflow, that is a more magnetic place to be. So it's not even about sharing it out amongst ourselves. It's nearly about looking at the more I can fill up my own energy cup, the more magnetic I am, the more then I have to flow around. It's that whole oxygen mask on you first. And yes, you're right. So you'll see me. And I came up with a Queen account because I wanted some parameters around freedom. I understood I'm a cash flow queen. I map all my cash. I know where things are going. My spending is intentional, but I also wanted it to be intentional without micromanaging it. And so like a Queen account essentially, and my kids have an account. Now it's just a cost category. It's not a separate account anymore because I track it all, but they have their cost centers too. They're taken care of. They've got what they need, but I also have that pocket there. And my husband has his pocket there. We're all looked after. And so then if we've already agreed, this is the amount per month, the decision has already been made. Now, what you do then with the money, release the attachment to it needing to be any type of way. Because the last thing we want to do is be at the day spa being like, okay, I've booked in the day spa. I'm going to fill up my cup and enjoy myself. And then the whole time you're there, you're thinking, oh my gosh, how much did this cost? And I shouldn't have done this. And like, is this the right thing? And no, guilt free. It has to be guilt-free. So the minute that you've filled up the Queen account, that's the decision is done. What comes after that is ignoring the money, ignoring it. You've already decided that's what's going in it. So now that's what's going in it. Now just enjoy the experience. Just enjoy it. Just have it feel free.
And for the listener who is, I don't have any spare money to put in the Queen account, I feel guilty when I spend money on myself. I have to make sure that everyone's needs are met before my own. I think that's the biggest, like, especially in the, I'm not going to call it a crisis. I'm going to call it the income cap at the moment that a lot of people are feeling. How would they start to build that Queen account and feel like the energetics are investing in themselves without that guilt of, if I invest in myself, I'm taking away from the people around me? Because that's like a deep energetic mindset, subconscious belief system that I feel like I work with a lot of my clients every day.
Absolutely. And so when I think back to even how I restarted this whole thing for myself, it was because I tried the other way. I actually tried. It's kind of like I liken it to our relationship with food as well. And I tried the other way. I tried restricting everything and it's like, actually we need to add to our plate to have us full. We actually need to feed ourselves better so that we are not starving. So it's sort of like, it's starting small, but understanding that you will get to it will happen. And even if you start with that small amount, because at the time I had cut everything out. I wasn't buying coffees for myself. I was stretching out my hair appointments. I certainly, stopped doing nails, and not for everyone, they don't want their nails and that's fine. But for me, it felt like I to spend nothing on myself, and it didn't feel good. It felt restrictive. It felt controlling. It felt desperate. The less and less I spent on myself, the less and less I had. It was just this like sinking downward spiral. And Remember the time I went, right, this is not working. Spending less is not working. I need to actually move into the expanded energy, because wealth and calling in more money is actually an upward spiral. It's an expansive, creative, joyful, bigger energy. It's not a restrictive, smaller, costs, hoard money energy. So actually to call it in is actually to be bigger and to hold more. So starting small, and I decided on trying to think of the numbers, but I remember deciding a number for my husband, for myself, and we didn't have kids at the time. This is how long I've been doing money budgeting. But I just decided on a number, and I said, right, that's your number. This is my number. My husband's like, he could care less, actually. He cared less than I did. I'm desperately trying to make it work. And he was like, just, spend. But I get it. It's because women want to take care of people. We do. So I started small, and then I would say once you've decided on the amount, release any attachment the moment that you're actually tapping and spending it. So if you need to put it in a separate account, do that. If you want to see it grow a little bit until there's a bigger experience you can go do that. There was a time where I was letting it pool for a couple of months, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and I bought myself a Christmas present that I never would have bought. And it was this beautiful like red wallet that I still have today. I just wanted it so much, and I thought I'm just going to pool my Queen account for 6 months, and then I got it for Christmas, and it was just everything. And so I think it's just this beautiful trust feedback loop system that we do matter, that it is important to look after ourselves. So just find a way to make that work.
I love that. Even if it's just $10 a week, just pulling into account. And one of the things that I always preach is there's always a choice. We always have a choice, even if it's not buying coffee for a week. Not that you promote lack and going without, but it's like, how can you look at your current situation and do something that makes you feel like you're important, like you're adding value to yourself, and just simply do it.
And maybe for some people it is the coffee. So for me, I'm obsessed with coffee and I really do enjoy my morning ones. But if you don't, and you're like, actually, I would prefer to pool all of my money for a couple of months, so you still have that money going in, what you would have spent on coffee, put it into your Queen account. You would have spent it anyway. Now take that and go get something that you truly want. It's about aligning. Purchasing for value feels exciting for you. And that is the perfect way to be working with money. Just keep that excitement. And yeah, you're right. We have so much choice and opportunity around us. But I do understand when we're starting out, it's not easy, but we'll have to start somewhere.
Okay, I want to put a few little scenarios to you to see if we can work through a way that women, I'm sure men listen to, can start building their wealth and getting the courage and finding the confidence to actually put this one foot in front of the other. You ready to go?
Let's roll.
All right. So we have a mum. She's 32 years old. She's just separated from her family. She's got 3 kids, and she is in and out of work, looking after the kids. She's got a little bit of money, a little bit of debt. How would she start putting one foot in front of the other to start building her wealth?
Okay, so firstly, I would say it's going to be a lot about cash flow. So I preach the 3 wheels of wealth. We have assets is one huge wheel. Our cash and cash flow, understanding how to manage that, is another wheel. And then who we are and our energetics is another wheel. But if our entire environment has just rug pulled out, flipped, things have changed, we need to find our feet. We need some stability. We need to start to feel what's flowing in, what's flowing out. Where am I at? So that's what I would work firstly with, is cash flow. Now, I do use trackers like a Pocket Smith for my personal and Xero for my business. I do like to run my numbers. I like to just have all of my bank feeds automatically linked up in through the software app, and I make some really basic categories. So there's about 7 basic categories. Try to keep it as simple as possible. Is it Queen account? Is it kids account? Is it living? Is it food? Is it joint expenses? Is it holidays? Like as simple as that. Just start clicking through, categorizing everything for your month so that we can get some data. It's never about judgment when it's cash flow. It's just, let's get the data, because we can't address what we can't see. So get the transparency on where are we at right now, what's flowing in, because that might even look different. Let's see what's flowing in. Let's have a look what it costs to keep us all alive and settled, and what's flowing out, and then we can work around that. So once we know where the cash flow is, then it will be about, okay, then we can zoom out to big vision. But in those short-term changing scenarios, you just want to get a handle on your cash flow before you take the next steps. And I truly believe there's always ways to call in more cash. So if that is needed, then that's what we would work on next.
I love that, because what we're avoiding owns us. And I do find that quite often is like, it's too scary to look at the finance, too scary to look at what we're spending. So we just stay in this cycle loop of not enough, don't have enough money, can't. But when you actually give it your focused attention and you can see where it's going, then it gives you that sense of power or some kind of control over your current reality rather than just a victim to it. I love that.
Exactly. And I'm pretty sure Pocket Smith's free. We can find a free app and it brings your bank feed straight into it. So you just connect your banks to it, done. And then it's just a feedback loop. It's just data. It's not judgment. It's not shame. It's data. It's just what's happening. Let's have a look at it. Do we like the way it looks? Am I spending in alignment with my values? Does that feel good? And if it does, if it truly does, and we are actually stretched and there is no good feeling about any more restriction, then we start to look at flow in. We just have to look at flow in. Are there any other opportunities? Because I've seen how opportunity can be created. So I will work into that space. But certainly immediately when we're still in that survival, we just want to find our feet. What's the current situation?
I love that. I love that. Okay. Scenario number 2. You are Michelle. You finished uni, you're in the corporate world and you're starting to get a salary. It's a pretty good one, but you know nothing of investing. What do you do now?
Now I have a personal assistant who started working for me. I'm already coaching her on the side. I'm like, take note, because this is what I would have done and I didn't do it and I wish someone told me. So I had this idea that once I got an income, once it was enough to cover all the things, then I would start looking at purchasing a home, because that's just what everybody did. They bought their first home. Now, the mistake that I went into is waiting for enough cash to get the deposit, to get the home in the area that I wanted to live in. Now, this just stretched from year to year to year, and it was worse than not having enough cash. I kept thinking I'll just get another pay rise, and the next pay rise, I'm going to save that bit. And I started using credit cards. There was never a day where I was like, that next pay rise made it for me. So it's not about that. We really have to start on day one. Get that first pay packet. This is what we're doing. So your first pay packet, this is what we're doing. We are setting aside money to spend and money that goes to your future. Now, that money that goes to your future is going to pool in a separate account. We're just not going to look at it. We're not going to touch it. It's just is what it is. This money is going to make you money. It's going to make so much money for you in the future. So it's so important that it goes in there. Now, in terms of investing, once we can, now it might look like shares. It might just sit in a high interest saver for a bit. And that's cool because we want to beat inflation. So inflation is going to erode your money at about 3% per annum. So we at least need to have it in a high interest saver, because even at 4%, we're only just kind of beating the erosion of our cash. Then we might want to put it in some type of index fund if we're going to save up for a home deposit, because it might take multiple years to get there. So we want to be investing and growing it at a higher percentage rate. But the next key thing would be, please don't wait to get into, if you want to try property or a leveraged asset. So it's not about loving property or loving shares. It's just about the fact that property you can leverage. So you can hold a $600,000 asset for only, well, not only, but for a 20% of your cash deposit. So if I can put 20% deposit in and own this 100% asset, I'm now getting growth on a big asset, and I get all that growth every year. So it actually is the perfect way to start investing. So that's what I would say is, don't wait to be able to purchase the house that you want to live in. Just purchase somewhere where it makes sense to be an investor. And essentially that's what we ended up doing. We started purchasing properties in high growth areas, not places that I want to live, but they've done very well in terms of an asset. So looking at property as an asset, and then just go rent where you want to live and just be happy where you are so you can rent that and just become an investor earlier rather than waiting for the dream home. All that pressure on that first home purchase, it's just too much pressure.
Okay, so get the salary, put about what, 30% into another investment account and just leave it until you know what you want to do with it.
Yeah, if you're living at home as well, which a lot of 18, 19, 20, even 25-year-olds will be doing, if you're living at home, that's the time. I promise you, do it then, because that it's never going to get any easier than that. So start pooling that cash as soon as you can.
And it feels like now is the most important time to become financially literate at that age, because for a lot of people who are looking at the property market, let's say, it just feels like we'll be either living at home for too long, mum and dad are going to have to put the deposit down or go guarantor on the house, because it is starting to feel quite out of reach for this next generation.
And it very possibly will be. Like, I'm preparing for it to be out of reach for my kids. And I don't say that with any type of excitement. I just look at the data from other countries. In Australia, we're so very lucky that we've been able to purchase homes to live in. But it is a privilege to have been able to do that. It's not a guarantee. If we have more and more people coming here and the land's not being released, it will become a more and more percentage of our income, to the point where we might be priced out. Not priced out of property completely, but maybe priced out of the areas we want to live in. So that's like, don't skip out on property, just purchase where you can get into the market. Because the growth that you will miss out on, the opportunity cost of missing out because you're waiting a decade to save a deposit, you're better off getting in sooner on anything so you can be in the game, just in the market and growing.
Last scenario, I am a 65-year-old female and I have left the marriage due to X, Y, and Z. Finally, it's just had to happen. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. I've had to sell the house. I'm renting. What do I do to start giving myself the confidence at 65, who hasn't never had anything to do with the finance of in the marriage? What do I do right now to start building wealth, or do I just put it into super?
So like day one, find a financial planner. So build a team around you, because these are the people we need to trust. So a financial planner will be able to look at your entire portfolio. They'll be able to look at things like your superannuation. They help with exit strategies. So what life's going to look like in terms of if you're not earning anymore, like how are we going to structure your money to last the rest of your life? Now, if you're in a position still to leverage, or there's more income coming in, then that's different. Maybe we would do some more active investing, or maybe it's just okay, what piece of the pie do we have, and how are we going to make smart choices about where to put that money so that we can have it coming to us for the rest of our days. So we really do need to have a good financial team around us. So for me, I have a financial planner who manages all of my life insurance, my income protection, and all my self-managed super fund. Then I also have who else do I have on my team? I have a broker and an accountant who work together to understand entity structures, tax structures. Like, we need all of that as well. I use buyer's agents for purchasing my properties. I'm not just randomly picking. I'm going to the experts, bookkeepers. Who else do we have? So make sure your wills are up to date. You'll need like lawyers to help. So I think it's just about understanding, well, who do I have on my team? I need some people that I trust to get some really good advice so that I'm not caught out. It's always better to know upfront. As scary as whatever situation might feel, I would much rather have a conversation like that day and figure out what's it going to look like, rather than just being in that space of unknown. It's would rather know so that we can actually see what we can work with.
I love it. Give it attention. This is the one thing, that we always say, it's like energy grows where your attention goes. And if we're not giving it attention, if we're sitting back in avoidance or in lack, that asset or that knowledge base can't grow, and we'll just sit there in fear. I love that.
Yeah. I have women that come to me today, not at the end of their earning cycle, but maybe towards the end, and they realize that they said, where were you 10 years ago? Like, I needed to have this conversation a decade ago because I've been sitting on equity, I've been sitting on opportunity, and I didn't know what I didn't know. And look, I believe that it's all just divine timing. We get the information when we need it, but at the same time, we can't go back in time. So if I can't go 10 years ago, I can only go today. At least open it up today, have the conversation today, and then you know that when the next decade comes, you'll be like, I'm so glad I just took a moment to look at it, to see if that's what I was happy with. And if you are, amazing. If you're not and you want some different future, well, you've got time to actually make that happen.
I love it because knowledge, it's like number one, knowledge, learn, 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 and then turn it into wisdom by actually taking the action so that it can have a big impact on your life.
Oh, I love that so much.
Now, one last thing, as I follow you and watch you, and I'm so inspired by you, I can see that you have incredible personal wealth goals for yourself. How do you, and I'm going to go into the world of energetics here, how do you continue to up-level your nervous system? How do you continue to create space so that you can hold that next level as you're growing?
Love this. Love this. And it's not just me, because an interesting thing that has come out of this Legacy Hour business is I have multi-millionaire women who have come to me asking for support in a private coaching space with this specific thing. I didn't realize there are so many other women out there that have already created success, far more success than I've created, that are feeling like they've hit this point of who am I to want more? Like, can I? Should I? Now, to me, I look at this as like, we have to look at this as Legacy Hour. This is the icing on the cake. It's our duty to use the platform that we have been so blessed to have to then call in that Legacy Hour. So I encourage them to expand further. We are out of survival. We are out of fight or flight. So it's a completely different operating system. We cannot say we are in so much pain that we are running away from the pain anymore. We've solved that issue. We're out of fight and flight. We are looked after. So who are we to now say, let's go more, let's hold more, let's go bigger? Well, I say, who are you not to do that? Because you've been given this beautiful platform. So you actually have now the chance to do what most people may never get to. What are you going to do with that? Start thinking about the greater the number of people I serve, the greater my capacity for wealth. Serving is, so by actually living out our gifts and serving and helping, well, that is the legacy work. That is your chance to make it better for the next person. Now, in terms of actually holding the wealth, so for some people, it would be helpful to think about, well, what can I create? What can I do with my wealth? So they're setting up foundations, they're starting new businesses, they're working on soul-led ventures, and that's a beautiful way to do it. But still, you do have to energetically sit with the fact that I'm visible, I'm seen, you are. The energy of wealth, you will be seen. You'll have more eyes on you. Now, I've welcomed the eyes because I'm out on Instagram, but even if you're not out on Instagram doing the thing, the more wealth you have, that feeling of being seen increases. So we actually have to work with feeling safe to be seen. It is safe to be seen with my wealth. And so that is often, I've had major breakthroughs with women who didn't even realize that they were trying so hard to shrink down, and yet their wealth is growing. And it's like this internal struggle of, hang on, I'm growing and it's getting bigger, but I'm trying to keep it smaller. So they're actually like bypassing, they're actually cutting themselves off from that flow. So instead of doing that, we look at the more you have, the more you can give. So it's like actually allowing yourself to just fully open up, fully be, and have it fully flow through. I mean, I've never met a soul-led human who has had more wealth and it's been at detriment to anyone. Like, it's not at the detriment to anyone. It's at a blessing for everyone. The more we have, the more we give.
I love that. What would be your practice to expand that? Do you have like a daily ritual, whether it's meditation, energetics, looking at your limiting beliefs? What would your practice be?
So for me, I mean, call me delusional or call me intuitive, but I just have a vision of where I'm going. And so for me, it's a big vision, and it's a vision where I have opportunity to speak on big stages and help inspire and guide. That's my vision. So for me, I allow that bigger vision, the bigger purpose to guide me through. So whatever little wobbles, like even yesterday, you're getting ready for the day, you've got the nerves, but you know the vision is bigger than me. The vision is bigger than my nerves. I can be brave because I need to show up, because where I'm going is bigger than this. So it's just allowing yourself to go through because you know you need to get to where you're going, and it's just part of the process. Stretch is just growth.
I love that. And then when I ask you, you didn't go, I want to be a multi. You were like, no, this is my vision. And it feels like you just trust that that's going to be what is we'll call it a reward or the offset of you in your vision, that's what's going to accumulate.
It absolutely is. And when you come from that place of service, it is a natural abundance magnet. But also, there's no better gift than being of service.
And to wrap us up, I'd love you to leave a little bit of inspiration for all our listeners. And that would be, for anyone that's listening, how do they do something right now that will create them a better relationship with money?
So I would say it's really about starting with giving yourself permission. Just give yourself permission. We so often block our dreams because we haven't even allowed ourselves to want it, to actually feel into it. We've already decided it's going to be too hard, so we haven't even sat with it. Just sit with it. Like, why not? Just sit with what it would be like if you could. The possibility of, well, what if I do figure this out? What if I can accumulate wealth? What if I can be financially free? Would I want that, honestly? And if you can see that financial freedom would allow you freedom in your life and that feels good, then just start to open up that space in your brain where I may not have all the information that I need right now as to how I'm going to get there, but at least I'm going to allow myself to desire it, to actually turn on the beacon that says, yes, that is what I want. And that honest moment of I'm ready to at least acknowledge that. Because if we don't even have our beacon switched on towards wanting the thing, we're not going to get it. If we're just feeling that I'm not even going to open up the possibility, it's too hard, as I'm not even going to look at it, it's not coming. It can't come. So the first part is, even if we don't know how, it's yes, actually, life would be easier if I had more. Amazing. Great. Now I've got a starting point. And then it's about, okay, what resources do I currently have? What can I currently use to upskill myself? And even I've got an absolute bunch of free masterclasses. Like, I'm trying to just get the information out. So whatever resources you have, you go there, find people who've perhaps done the thing and start asking them. Just open up your mind to what that could possibly look like. And I promise you, once you've decided that's what you want, like we said, it's that alignment. The doors will start to open. Opportunity will just, funnily enough, start to show up, and then just be brave enough to just be like, I'm going to take this step. I'm going to take this step.
I love that. That's so beautiful. And Michelle, if anyone in my world listening wants to start following you, starts getting contact with you, where would they go?
Yes, perfect. So I'm on the Instagram, so Michelle Rule Millionaire Maker. So I can't be confused with anyone. That's where you'll find me. Drop into my DMs. I've got a free Dream Life calculator to calculate your financial freedom number. A whole bunch of free things there. So just come on over, send me a DM, and just start your wealth journey today.
Love it. And I hope everyone listening's had a pen and paper, because there's been so much gold and so much process. And I really appreciate you spending your beautiful time with us and helping our audience build the most incredible wealthy lives that they actually desire.
Thank you so much for having me, Rain. I've loved our conversation today. Thank you.
My pleasure. I'll see you soon.
See you.